It depends when you get me. If you ask me the question if I think these beings are real or not, if you ask me right after a trip, I'm like, they're just as real as you and me. And then as my logical mind takes over and I'm in the gap in between trips, I'm like, who are the people in our dreams? Because the DMT spirits seem to be as real as that. But at this point, I'm not sure what's real.
Okay, dude, you ready?
I know words. I had the best words.
What's up, guys? My name is Dakota, and I'm here in Bucharest in Romania. And I just flew in here from Istanbul after spending a month in Turkey exploring around. And it's been a while since I posted on my channel. And it's been even longer since I've talked about psychedelics here on my channel. And I know people like to hear people talk about their psychedelic experiences. And I wanted to sort of revisit a DMT trip I talked about here on my YouTube channel. It's one of my biggest videos. I think it has like almost 1.5 million views or something like that. And the trip, I think, was about 3 or 4 years ago. And I've smoked DMT 5 times in my life. 4 of those times I consider to be, significant experiences, and they were more aligned with the traditional imagination of what a DMT trip is. One of the times didn't really work too much. It was kind of, a bit trippy, but not quite the out-of-body or astral experience that I've gotten from my other trips. But this specific trip that I'm going to talk about or revisit was my most intense DMT trip, and it's a trip that really has sort of steered me away from being able to try DMT again. And I will. I'm actually planning to go to Peru and try ayahuasca, but this trip has kept me from smoking DMT just because it was so intense and so confusing and so just out of this world that I just for some reason just don't really feel like I need to experience that sort of thing again. And I know there are people that can just smoke DMT all the time. I don't really know how they do it, but it really blew my mind. So some of you may have seen my YouTube video called Meeting the DMT Aliens, and this is the trip that I'll be talking about. Because I had this experience. I'll explain the whole experience. So I have some DMT. I smoked the DMT, and I followed Terence McKenna's advice to try to take that next hit when you feel like you don't want to. Go for it. Just take it, because that's the one that's gonna catapult you into a different dimension. So I was like, I just have to do it. I've come this far. I've got the DMT. I want to go far out. Let's see what happens. So I did it, and I took 2 huge hits, and everything instantly, just the world starts shaking apart. Like literally, it looked like where I was, my environment literally was just shaking until it was like shattered into fractals and colors and kaleidoscopic rainbows. And in the midst of sort of feeling overwhelmed and lost in this chaos of what's going on from these 2 hits, I managed to take another hit and then just lay down, close my eyes, and I'm instantly kind of shot through my body. And a lot of people explain this, that you're being shot through some kind of tunnel of geometry, and I felt this also. I was shot through this sort of tunnel, and everything is just like a vibration until you just kind of pop. And I popped into this place which seemed like a desert. And I don't know why it seemed like that, because it didn't look like a desert. It was just kind of like this dark realm with, squiggly lines and stuff like that. But in my astral intuition, it felt like a desert for some reason. And I guess I sort of seen things that looked like cactuses. And the thing I found most interesting about this DMT realm was that I could look around and things remained stationary. Like, for example, I look back here at this bed, and I look back at my camera, and I can look back at the bed, and the bed would still be there. And I could physically feel this astral body, like my astral neck, looking around. You know, I could be in two places at once. I still felt my body here on Earth, and I still, like, if you were to walk up and punch me in the face, I imagine I would have felt it. But I was in two awarenesses at once, and able to feel them both at once. I guess it's kind of like a daydream. Like, you can just be sitting here staring, and you're completely aware of your environment. If someone walks past you, you can still see them walk past you, and you can comprehend that a human being is walking past you, or whatever's walking past you. But you're also aware of some other, of your daydream, you know, whatever you're thinking about. You're thinking about aliens or superheroes, or your imagination's just running wild to whatever you think about, and you're in kind of two places at once. The DMT space was a bit like that, and I could move my DMT neck, I guess you can call it, and I could look over here, and I could see things, and look over here, and then look back, and that it would still be there. So that was one of the most interesting aspects of this, and I guess this is why people believe that the DMT realm is kind of a dimension that is maybe pre-existing, or a place that that holds some solidity outside of, I guess, your imagination. But I guess in dreams also you can do the same kind of thing in your dreams, which may be why people believe that DMT is being released in dreams. And I don't know anything about that. I'm not a scientist, so I can't say whether or not that's true. But it's an interesting experience. And I remember looking over and seeing these rainbow serpents. And instantaneously, these rainbow serpents, out of like a confusion, looked at me and realized that I was here. And out of some kind of what it seemed like curiosity, they flew into me, started flying into my stomach. I think there was two just flying into my stomach, and it all happened within like a split second. They saw that I was here as I saw them, and at the speed of light just flew into my torso. And I could feel them physically moving through my body. And so I felt them so physically that, like, my actual human body here on Earth was like having to, like, you know, like, fuck, like as if an atomic bomb just exploded and I was trying to grab a hold of something. Like, it felt like they were moving through my body. I don't know how else to explain it. It felt like these physical, or like I was being possessed or something like that. And as they were moving through my body, I sort of like beamed out of it and was looking at my astral body from another layer of perspective. I was looking down at my astral body, and I was on this sort of cosmic operation table. And these things seemed to be clearing out some kind of negative energy blockages I had inside of my body or something like that. Because as I was on this cosmic operation table and they were clearing me out, everything went white. The desert realm disappeared, the snakes disappeared, everything just went completely white, like as if, you know, there was high beams shining an inch away from my face. And I got this overwhelming feeling of absolute bliss and absolute love after being confronted with the most overwhelming experience I've ever had in my life. Like, the DMT experience is like getting hit in the face with a baseball. I actually don't know why everyone, like, people say like everyone should take DMT. I don't think everyone should take DMT because it's such an overwhelming experience. It's like someone is right here in front of you and just smacks a baseball and it hits you directly in the face and you become sort of disoriented and you don't know what's going on. The DMT experience is a lot like that, and it happens so fast. I mean, like, I was back to normal in 15 minutes, 10 minutes, you know? Or at least what you consider normal. It's still a little trippy once you wake up, but it's compared to what it was, you know? You consider it normal. The only way I can explain this white light was like heaven. And it's like being in a room with every person you've ever loved, and there's no animosity. There's this complete acceptance and love and beauty, and it's like everyone is just hugging you, and it's the embrace of God, it felt like, in a way. And then I just woke back up, and I remember waking back up and just shooting up. Like I was standing up like, oh my God. I just kept repeating like, oh my God, what the fuck? What in the fuck? And yeah, that's like the gist of what I remember. But I wanted to sort of revisit this and kind of tell you how I feel now, years later. And this serpent, these serpents that I've seen are the most interesting thing to me for some reason, because previous to this experience, I didn't know that people were having serpent visions. But this is the sort of reoccurring thing that that people experience in the ayahuasca realm or the DMT realm or even the mushroom realm. You know, when people take psychedelics, they seem to have visions of serpents. They seem to have visions of serpents, and I have no idea why. So I went to Mexico. I met a few shamans there. I went seeking out people that could help me understand this. And this was actually earlier this year. This is now November of 2019. And I think I was in Mexico in February or March. And I met some shamans. I have these videos on my YouTube channel. You can check them out. I wanted to know what is up with the serpent mythology that's found in the Mexican culture. I know Mexicans have a long history. Aztecs, Mayans, they have a history of taking mushrooms, of using plants to have transcendent experiences or, you know, mystical psychedelic experiences. So I wanted to find someone that could maybe help me understand, why is it found here? And why is it found scattered throughout many psychedelic cultures and cultures in general? Aboriginal Australians have this idea of the rainbow serpent. Zeus's earliest depictions are of a great serpent. Vishnu, the creator of the world in Hindu mythology, is riding on a huge serpent. Egyptian pharaohs have serpents wrapped around their head. Moses carried a staff that turned into a serpent. The serpent myth is always aligned with creation or with healing. And it's just, considering that I felt sort of like these things were healing me in a way, it's truly mind-blowing. I still don't know how to wrap my head around it. How is it possible that a kid that has no connection to any of these things, myself, how am I having these visions that are been shared throughout cultures? And maybe it's just a complete coincidence that all these cultures are having this serpent mythology. Or maybe it's not, you know, maybe there's some sort of unconscious place that exists within all of us that is inspiring this. I don't know. I still don't know. But after processing all this, it seems that it holds some validity, which is an insane thing to say, because I mean, it's just you're being flooded with chemicals in your brain, and somehow these, you know, it's so strange that just tuning or tweaking the biochemistry of the human body can produce a completely new experience of where you are experiencing something that seems as solid and seems as real as the experience of life itself. That just one little hit of a plant can take you to an experience that seems real. And I don't know if people were smoking DMT that were, you know, I don't know if the Greeks were making Zeus a serpent because they were smoking DMT and having visions or mushrooms or whatever. But it's this serpent myth is so strange to me. What is real? You know, they say everything's inside of our head. This experience is inside of our head. Even our heads are inside of our head, is what scientists seem to be pointing at these days. So what is real? And it's not like the DMT experience changed my life in a way where I'm like some newly healed person and I don't have any like previous traumas that are haunting me anymore. Or, you know, a lot of people claim a lot of things from DMT, and it does have tremendous potential, I guess. But I feel like a lot of people think it's going to be like an answer to their problems. And for me, it wasn't. For me, it was more about just seeing how what we think is reality can be snatched away so easily. How not baseline this experience is, of this current experience, and how we can easily just be somewhere else. And when I was in Mexico, I met a Mazatec medicine woman who gave me a huge pile of mushrooms to take, and I took them all. And the thing is that mushroom psilocybin is one oxygen molecule away from being structurally the same as DMT. So a heavy dose of psilocybin is basically comparable to a DMT trip, except it's prolonged. And you can have these same kind of experiences where you meet aliens or spirits or ancestors or your imagination, whatever you want to call it. It makes no difference. But I had an experience while this old woman was doing this ceremony all night. We did it for 7 hours, and she's got to be in her 80s. And she stayed up all night until like 10 o'clock at night until 7 in the morning, doing mantra, keeping these candles lit, lighting different plants, and essentially guiding me through these inner worlds. And it depends when you get me. If you ask me the question if I think these beings are real or not, if you ask me right after a trip, I'm like, they're just as real as you and me. And then as my logical mind takes over and I'm in the gap in between trips, I'm like, who are the people in our dreams? Because the DMT spirits seem to be as real as that. But at this point, I'm not sure what's real. Because I had this very big dose of mushrooms, and you can be in communication with something that seems so beyond you. I feel like we all know what we know. I think it was McKenna who said, like, we know our inventory. And this feels like you have something external coming in and stocking your shelves or downloading you with some kind of information that's beyond you. Truly, truly. And I really mean this from the bottom of my heart, that you can have an experience. You can have a religious experience, a mystical experience, truly mysterious. Like, we go through life thinking life is just some mundane thing, because we go to work, we go to school, we have families, we have relationships and our issues and stuff like that, and we wake up here every day. So we kind of get used to it, and we don't see the fact that we're in these temporarily decaying bodies and a planet, or if you want to think it's a flat realm, whatever you think, we are in some kind of mysterious happening that we've convinced ourselves is not that mysterious, because this is just life. But you can add an extra layer to that mystery and be in communication with something different that's not of this place. Maybe they're interdimensional beings that exist beyond our perception, beyond the nature of our senses. I mean, we are limited by our senses. We can only perceive what our bodies are attuned to perceive. What mysteries lie beyond the grasp of our senses? Surely there's something else beyond what we are capable of experiencing. And maybe these plants, by a tweaking of chemistry, can bring us to these places, maybe through lessening our distractions. Because it seems this way. It seems like if you take some mushrooms, for example, and you sit in your room alone with no lights on, nothing to anchor you to the self, nothing to anchor you to this world, that it's pretty easy to leave your body. It's pretty easy to have a transcendent experience. Whereas if you take the same dose, maybe 5 grams, maybe whatever, an eighth or 10 grams or whatever your preference is, it's different for all people. There is no guideline or book that can deliver to you your own truth. If you take the same dose at a festival, for example, and you go out dancing, you're not going to have this experience because you're so engaged in the outside world. But if you remove these engagements, if you remove these distractions, maybe we're able to tune in or expand our awareness to something that we can't see when we're not focused on it. I don't know for sure. Who knows? But what I do know is that out of all the mysteries, people see ghosts, or people say they see UFOs or Bigfoot or any of these kind of things, people crave these things. They crave the mystery. The psychedelic experience is reproducible. Whether you're some dickhead on the street that believes in nothing, or you're a preacher, or you're a scientist, this experience works. It doesn't matter what you believe. It requires no dogma. You don't have to believe in anything. You don't have to believe in some book for it to work. It doesn't care about what you believe. It will deliver itself, no matter who you are, and no matter what sort of things you prescribe to. So I don't know. It's been years since the DMT trip I had. And yeah, the mystery is just deepened. I've been all around the world chasing this serpent mythology, trying to find connections, and I'm just left in a more curious position than I've ever been. I don't know. I think that's all I can say right now about that. But I thought, that video that I posted a few years ago has, I don't know, maybe 1.5 million views or something like that, and I felt a little elementary in my delivery, and I think I would like to reposition myself or re-elaborate myself into where I'm at now. And I don't know, that's where I'm at. I don't know. It's interesting, to say the very least. It's very curious, and this world is stranger than we are being led, than we're being led on to believe. So yeah, I don't know. If you're interested in taking any psychedelic, be careful, because you're opening yourself up to something. You're opening yourself up to something. I'll just leave you with that. And I don't know. Romania, here I am. This is my first day in Romania. And I guess I'm gonna go out and explore the world, see what's out there. So thank you for watching my YouTube channel. I hope you found this video interesting. And yeah, I have so many psychedelic videos on my channel if this is the kind of thing you're interested in learning about or hearing about. And I've got tons of travel videos. I'll be making a video exploring this serpent myth and what I've discovered about it in more detail soon. When I get home, I'll be home in about a month. And yeah, make sure to click subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, leave me a comment letting me know what you think. Do you think the DMT aliens are real? Is there worlds beyond our perception simultaneously overlapping our own that we are just not tuned in to experience, and maybe these plants or drugs or chemicals can bring us there? Or maybe just loosening our distractions through meditation, becoming quiet, finding some inner stillness might be the key to bringing us to these inner worlds or external worlds? Or does it make a difference? Is there an external world? Is there an internal world? Like we said, science is coming to the conclusion that this is all happening inside of our head. Inside and outside must mean the same thing. They imply each other. So is there anything other than this? Who knows for sure? Let me know what you think. I'm really curious about this discussion, and I think the more we can open the conversation, the more we can just lose ourselves in the mystery. And we can stop viewing this world as some mundane happening and be in a position of truth. And that position of truth is that something very strange is happening to all of us right now. To you, to me, to the birds flying by. We're all in this weird, whatever this is. So yeah. My name's Dakota. Adios.